Dear colleagues, the first presentation from our German colleagues, Thorsten Rocksch from Humboldt University, Berlin, would like to represent us the update on the establishment of Russian and Romanian varieties in Germany. Thorsten, the floor is yours, 20 minutes.
Thank you very much, Yuri. I hope everybody can hear me good, and I like to share my presentation.
It's working.
It's working, okay, and now it starts, yes? Okay, yes. Thank you once more, Yuri, for the nice introduction. At first, I like to say I'm very glad that this online format has been organized and we have so many participants here. At the last Presence Eurovox in 2017 in Poland, I had already said something about the trial with the Siberian varieties in Berlin, and today I would like to give a small update on this. For the last 2 years, we have also had some Romanian varieties in our trial site, and these I like to show briefly also. At first, to the Siberian varieties, the background. First of all, the Siberian varieties, why are they so interesting for us? At the Lisavenko Institute in Varna-Ur, Sibachton breeding has a very long tradition. In 70 years of breeding work, many varieties have been created, and these are clearly different from the varieties in Germany. The plants have few thorns or are thornless. The fruits are often bigger, and the oil and the sugar content is very high. However, the Siberian varieties, when grown in Germany, are very sensitive to diseases, especially verticillium. And one reason could be the different climate conditions. And in Altai region, there is permafrost from November to March. And in Germany, Siberian varieties start sprouting in winter time when the temperature is mild, and following frosts can weaken the shoots. And I think therefore these varieties have not been cultivated in Germany so far. Yes, the project aims was to test the new Siberian Sibachton varieties for cultivation in Germany and in Central Europe, climate conditions, and to improve the resistance by grafting to German rootstocks. And of course, the assessment of quality and content also plays a role. Yes, in November 2011, I took 10 rooted cuttings of different varieties from Yuri. And these were the first planted in small pots and overwintered in an unheated greenhouse. In 2012, all pots were cultivated in outdoors, and in March 2013, 3 plants per variety were cut back and the shoots grafted on 1-year-old rootstock of the German variety Lycora. You can see here the principle of the grafting, the trunk grafting, and after 1 more year of cultivations, the remaining shrubs were planted in March 2014. Here you can see the varieties supplied by Yuri, and I think these were the best varieties of the Lisavenko Institute at that time, and especially Etna and SL were considered to be very productive. And not yet registered new variety, the number 12593, and the male variety Gnome were also part of the trial. And in addition, the variety Botanicheskaya Ljubitelskaya, which is often used in the Baltic states, was also planted. This table shows the number of plants after 1 year of cultivation. The left column shows the number of surviving plants in the pots, and there were no losses with the variety SL. In contrast, half of the plants of the varieties Rosinka and Jemshusnica had died. 3 plants of each variety were cut back and the shoots grafted on the German variety Lycora. So in total, 128 shrubs were planted. After grafting in 2013 and the further year of cultivation, the shrubs were planted out on the experimental field in March 2014. And the experimental plan is shown here. The row spacing is 3.5 meters and the plant spacing in the row are 70 centimeters. In the following years, the grow performance and plant losses were recorded. Overall, the grafted shrubs developed better than the non-grafted shrubs. As you can see here in the picture, there were greater losses in the non-grafted plants of the varieties Clafdia and Etna in 2017. The last assessment took place at the beginning of August on this year. The length of the new shoots was also recorded. The shoot length of more than 40 centimeters was measured mainly in grafted plants on the varieties Etna, Elisaveta, and Schuskaya. But on the other hand, the varieties Jemshusnica and Essel showed the greatest losses. Very interesting. Here is the harvest periods from 2016 to 2021 are plotted. The Siberian varieties have harvested much earlier than the German standard varieties Hergo, Habego, and Lycora. All Siberian varieties were harvested in July. Only the one cultivar listed as a number happens in August. In contrast, the German varieties in the period of late August to mid-October. One exception is Sirola, but Sirola is a cross with a Russian variety. In the following, I would like to show you some pictures of the best grown Siberian varieties. The largest shrubs developed from the grafted plants of the Elisaveta variety. They reached a height of 2.5 to 3.5 meters, and the ungrafted shrubs also grow well. But however, the fruit set has been very low so far. We have less yield here with Elisaveta. The variety Etna grows much better as a grafted shrub than as an ungrafted one. They grow to a height of 2.5 to 2.3 meters, and the fruit set is higher than this of Elisaveta. The grafted bushes of Clafdia variety grow differently well. The fruit set is a bit lower than with Etna, but when the fruit set is good, the branches tend to overhang, and it's also not so good for harvesting, for example. And here the Chuskaya variety, all grafted shrubs develop better than the ungrafted ones, and they reached a height between 2.1 and 2.6 meters. And the fruit set is medium high. Finally, some results on the fruits. The figure shows the mean value of the 100 fruit weight from the years 2016 to 2020 with a standard deviation, and the 100 fruit weight mostly corresponded with the large fruit German varieties Sirola and Lycora, but the fruits of Ajurnaya and the clone number were significantly heavier. This figure shows the mean value of the ascorbic acid content of 100 gram of fruits, the average between 2014 and 2019. And as expected, the Siberian varieties have significantly lower ascorbic acid content than the German variety Lycora, but there are also clear differences between the Siberian varieties. On the other hand, the Brix value is significantly higher in the Siberian varieties. Therefore, the taste of the fruits is much more sweeter than of the German Sieberton varieties. Various sources report that the carotenoid content of Russian varieties is higher compared to German varieties. Therefore, the carotenoid spectrum of Siberian varieties was compared with the German varieties in 2016. And for example, for beta-carotene, were determined the highest content in Sirola and Lycora, and these are two German varieties. But on the other hand, there were carotenoids that were present in significantly higher concentrations in Siberian varieties. Thus, we found high lutein content in the varieties SL, Jemchusnica, Erdna, and Sudalushka. Yes, in summary, the varieties grafted on Lycora generally grow better than non-grafted shrubs. After 10 years, 72% of the grafted shrubs survived, but only 56 of the non-grafted shrubs. The grafted varieties Erdna, Schuskaya, and Klavdia showed very good growth performance. There were no losses of the shrubs here. The harvest time of the test varieties in Berlin is already in mid-June, and thus clearly before the German varieties. The total carotenoid content is strongly variety dependent, but the lutein content of Siberian varieties is clearly higher. Yes, and now a few words about the Romanian varieties being tested in Berlin. The background is in 2012, the sea buckthorn fruit fly, Tragoletis batava, appeared in Germany for the first time. In the following years, it developed into a significant pest for sea buckthorn cultivation in Germany. In October 2018, a project was started to control the sea buckthorn fruit fly in Germany. And yes, I think it will be possible to report on this at the next session of OralWorks. But one of the sub-project of this is looking at varieties that might be less sensitive to the fly. Here are some pictures of the fly. It overwinters as a pupa in the soil, usually hatched in Germany at the beginning of June and lays egg in the fruits after some time. And the larvae developed in the fruit and can sometimes migrate to neighboring fruits also, as you see here in the picture. The infection is strongly dependent on the variety. In December 2018, Alexandru Vulpe, the founder of the Center of Excellence for Sea buckthorn cultivation in the Arad area in Romania, gave a lecture in Berlin on the very successful breeding and propagation work in this region. Here, many selections of the subspecies Hippophae rhamnoides carpatica have been brought into cultivation. The Carpathian sea buckthorn is adapted to relatively dry sites and medium altitudes. The fruits are usually round and yellow to reddish in color. They have higher ascorbic acid content than the species Hippophae rhamnoides, and in recent years, many varieties have come on the market, and the volume of cultivation is constantly increasing. According to Mr. Vulpe, there have been no problems with the sea buckthorn fruit fly with these varieties so far. And Mr. Wulpe kindly provide us with 1-year-old plants of 3 Romanian varieties in January 2019. And these are the varieties Rory, Dora, and the clone number 18.2. We planted these in a greater variety trial, which I do not want to go into in detail here. But in total, there are 227 female sea buckthorn shrubs here, which are used for sea buckthorn fruit fly studies. Here are the first primary results on the attack of sea buckthorn fruit flies. The infection was estimated in September and October last year on the basis of the fruit change. More detailed studies will be carried out in this year. It was found that the varieties Rory and Dora are little infested by the fruit fly, and the clone, on the other hand, was shown to be a bit more sensitive to fruit fly. Compared to the sensitive German varieties Irola and Lycora, there were fewer infections. Yes, here are some pictures and information about the 3 Romanian varieties. Rory is relatively weak grown, has round red fruits, and is not very sensitive to fruit fly. In addition, Rory has a very high ascorbic acid content. Dora grows slightly stronger than Rory, has firm round fruits, and shows even less fruit fly infection. And the clone number 18.2 grows very strongly and has a very good fruit set. The fruits are bigger than Rory and Dora and have also softer skins. And however, the fruits are also more infested by fruit flies. And here you can see clearly the injection sites on the fruit where the eggs were laid. In summary, the Romanian varieties with small round fruits and firm fruit skins are less sensitive to the sea buckthorn fruit fly, but however, these are only preliminary results. And so I thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Thorsten.
Thank you very much, Torsten. And colleagues, do you have any question to this brilliant presentation? Yes, Michael.
Well, Torsten, thank you for perfect presentation. It contains some valuable data. Please, when you mentioned the dead plants in the trials, do you mean completely dead, including the roots, or just the upper part of the plant?
In most time, complete bushes, and we have some plants where the roots grow well, and the root is the Lycora, and then we see by side a half meter beside the old plant a new shoot comes. But this is only on grafted plants, of course. And the others are ungrafted, completely died, also the roots.
Completely, yeah. Because in the Czech Republic, we have such an experience with the Russian varieties that when they die, the dead part is just the upper part, and the roots typically stay alive, and they grow again from the roots the next year.
Yes. Yes, we found this also, and we have some, for example, the variety Zirola is also a crossover with a Russian variety, and the half shrub died 1 year, and the next year they comes from the root with the new shoes. But here we have 10 years experience with Russian varieties, and after 3 or 4 years, they died completely also often.
Yeah, thank you. Just a note about the varieties from Russia. In our conditions, the most healthy plants seems to be Altaiskaya, Inia, and Žemčužina. I didn't see Inia in your presentation. Did you try Inia also?
No, we doesn't have Inia in our trial.
It was very tasty and also productive in Czech conditions. So I think it's a good idea to try also this one. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Michael, for your question. Colleagues who has
Yes, I would
asked a
like to
question?
ask something.
Yes.
Thorsten, did you have any observation with the grafted plants concerning fly or dying plants from this general Seebuckthorn dying, what we are discussing here?
That's yes. I think it's another thing with Seebuckthorn dying the general in Germany, and we have in this time many problems on big plantations, and the reasons are not clearly yet, and we cannot say anything about it on our trial here with the grafting and not grafting. It's a complete other problem, I think.
Okay, thank you. And I see that Simon would like to ask you something. Yes, Simon?
Thorsten, do you have any hints why Romanian varieties are less sensible for the fly, towards the fly?
Yes, I think the Rory and Dora has very little fruits with hard skin and a very high ascorbic acid content. And I think these are all reasons that the Seebuckthorn fruit fly not like this variety. Maybe. But we have only 1 year experience, and we have to see it a longer time. For example, we have also German varieties. Hergo is very less sensitive to the fruit fly. We have only 5% of the fruit fly in Hergo, but there are also plantations and they stay only Hergo. And over the years, the fruit fly go also on this variety because they have no other to eat, no other varieties. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Colleagues, yes, who? Yes. Who, please?
Hello,
Hello.
Rocksch. Some pictures you show us in your presentation. I see some fruits. Some fruits is very small, very like Chinese wild Seebuckthorn. So I want to know how to harvest such berries in Germany. Thank you.
Yes, these are the Russian varieties have in this time not a high yield. Normally we cut the branches and bring it on the frost tunnels and shaking, but this is a normal harvesting system in Germany. But here I think we have a problem with the pollinations. Because we have only less male shrubs and only gnome. It's a very small plant, and maybe that the pollination is not so good because the flowering is very early, and maybe that the male plants are not good in this time for pollination. But we have perhaps Yuri, you have some other male varieties what we can test here that they are only also earlier come to for pollination.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, one comment. Of course, we have several male varieties and male cultivars and male varieties. So if you like, we can share with you with our new cultivars. Okay, colleagues, any questions? I see. Yes, David?
Yuri, on the basis of what you just mentioned, oh, sorry.
No, switch on.
Please open.
On the basis of what you've just mentioned as different male varieties, does that give you a wider pollination window? Because that is my problem. I had a huge crop from your plants in 2017, and then on nothing because wind problems, weather problems, and I need to extend that pollen opportunity for my plants.
Okay, yeah, understood. It was a small comment, okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, colleagues, who else have a question? Yeah, yes, Dr. Singh. No. Please switch on your mic.
Okay.
Yes.
You can hear. Yeah. So my suggestion to all is that can we compile information about the morphological and biochemical features related with the occurrence of disease and pest? Certainly, there should be some features. For example, there may be high content of sugar or thickness and structure of the fruit skin. So we need to compile this information which may be useful for breeding program. That's all.
Sorry, I'm not completely understood, but I think we measure different contents of fruit compartments, and the sugar content is one thing, but I think the ascorbic acid content is very important, for example, against the fruit fly. And we have yes, we like to have in future in Germany more varieties which are earlier ripen and more sweet and higher oil content. And these are three reasons to test the Siberian Sibakton varieties here in Germany. And it could be the future that we not only use Sibakton as juice and jam, but more for medicine, for cosmetics, and so on. And so we need the Siberian varieties.
My suggestion was, and of course my question was, that in some areas in Germany and other places also, in other countries also, there are disease and pest in certain varieties. We need to work out what are those features of the plant, maybe morphological, maybe biochemical, which are related to occurrence of disease and pest. That was my session.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, colleagues, who else have some questions? Thomas may be in chat. Okay. We see Ms. Van. Switch on your mic. Okay. Yes, we hear you.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to know the Romania friend. I see in your picture the Seabox friend selected from the varieties. I want to know the varieties just selected from your native natural sea bugs species or subspecies population, or some introduced from the Russia or other places?
Yes, the Romanian varieties, I think, are in the first time was collected in the mountains from Carpatica subspecies, but I'm not sure if there are also some crossbreeding in this time. For example, the clone is very big and not typical Carpatica, and I'm not sure. We have to ask Mr. Vulpo or other from Romania which the breeding is in this time actual.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.